What's going on, beautiful people? We are back again with another Mental Max Out podcast. I'm your host, Akeem Robinson. And for those of you joining us for the first time, thanks for checking it out. Mental Max Out is all about helping people change their perspectives, think differently, and get out of the hole. If you're back again, I celebrate your willingness to continue growing and challenging your mind. Remember, if you like what you hear today, make sure you hit that subscribe button or whatever platform you're listening from. Share it with a friend and follow us on social media at Mental Max Out Podcast.
Hey guys, what's going on? Reporting from Florida. The show must go on. It never stops. It's funny because we're like, we need a vacation, but I don't know. With a little one running around, I feel even more tired, but I don't know what my wife might think.
Vacations look a little different now having a 1-year-old because, you know, it's like they always post on Instagram, or I always see it. People are like, you could be exhausted at home or you could be exhausted at Disneyland. So I guess I would rather be exhausted on vacation than just exhausted in our living room. So I'm thankful that we have the opportunity to be on vacation.
You got to exhaust our wallet and our checks. But but no, it's good. And you know, to see family, it's always good too. And Serena's loving being around family and seeing her cousins and everything like that. But it made me think. I remember when I was younger, I used to say, I can't wait to go on vacation because I'm so tired. I used to say that all the time. And then when I would say I was tired, I used it in every phrase of my day. I'm tired. And a lot of times when I was thinking about it, I was asking myself, why am I saying it when I've already had that moment pass? So I took it upon myself to get rid of that word and eliminate the word of saying I'm tired. I'm not saying I don't feel that way, but instead of saying that, what else can I put there instead? And it made me just truly think to myself, what are we saying that's holding us back? What are we saying that we think we need to say, or phrases we think we need to use that are keeping us being in the same mindset, the same state of being, where if we just change some words around, it might change our way of thinking?
So this vacation is a little different for me because we started 75 Hard back in July, and I was still going so strong. We went to California last month, and, you know, I was still working out twice a day. I wasn't drinking, you know, all that. Last weekend, you and I had a conversation, and I decided that at day 55, I was done. I wrestled with that for a while because I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I started this challenge, and I wanted to finish it for myself and to prove something. And kind of the weeks went on, I realized, you know, what am I proving and to who am I proving? What's the reason that I want to finish? Do I want to finish for me because it's going to serve me, or do I want to finish because I want to brag to my coworkers and to, you know, like our family, hey, I did it, even though nobody really cares, because nobody cares that I did it, you know. Only I should care that I did it. And so it was no longer serving me, but it took me, I think, a couple weeks to come to that realization, because I just felt like I'm gonna quit. There were multiple nights where I was like, I'm gonna quit, and you're like, no, it's okay, just do one, you know, do another workout, because you may not be ready. And I really struggled with that, and I feel like the concept of quitting versus saying, hey, you know, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, why is that so hard?
Let's backtrack for a second. When you think about 75 Hard, and for you, those of you listening that don't understand what that is, it's 75 straight days of doing 2 workouts. One has to be outside. Both workouts have to be at least a minimum of 45 minutes. And that's 2 of the 7 things you have to do a day. And so it is a commitment. Now, to your question, why is it so hard to either replace words or have this concept in our mind?
Like, why can't I just be okay saying, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore, or that's no longer serving me or helping me?
Well, I think it's a standard that we create in our mind. And if you're constantly using a standard of saying you're quitting, then that's what it's going to be. And so for you guys listening out there, if you're telling yourself, I'm a failure, or I'm this, or I'm quitting, or I'm stopping this, then you're proving half of yourself correct. And I'm not even trying to say that in a negative way. So please understand what I'm trying to tell you. We have to learn to replace these negative feelings and connotations about ourselves to be more productive. So as she was explaining that, she said, when I was feeling like I couldn't do it anymore, I thought of it as quitting. But the transformation happened when she said, this is no longer serving me. It still holds the same thing of you're about to make the decision of not doing it, but it changes the meaning because it's no longer serving her. So if it's no longer serving her, it's probably hurting her mentally. It's probably taking away from her family, taking away from what she's doing instead of saying quitting. So when you're thinking about how you go through your day, what words are you saying that makes you feel or respond in a way that you think you can't do it, that you're feeling like I'm a failure? Because if you just change it, it changes the meaning.
You pointed this out to me when I was pregnant with Serena, but then also recently. And it's a habit that I've noticed in other people since you've pointed it out to me, where you are doing something in the kitchen or you're folding clothes or you're trying to write a check to pay the medical bill or whatever, and you mess up, right? And sometimes it's almost second nature to be like, oh, dang it, Allison. And you gave me a hard time the other day because you're like, oh, you're dang it, Allisons, man. They just flow. But it's this idea of, aw, shucks, but aw, shucks, and you're so stupid are two completely different messages to yourself, you know? And it's like, it's so important to practice that self-talk. That's where it starts. I feel like if you already have a tendency to be like, dang it, Allison, and then when things like what I just went through with 75 hard come up, it's so easy to be like, man, you're such a quitter, or you're a failure. And I know I said that to you a few nights, you know, where I feel like such a failure because the pressure is that I was under at work and being a mom and trying to get these 2 workouts in and intermittent fasting as a part of my diet. Like all of those things are just a lot. Instead of feeling like, Allison, you're overwhelmed and maybe you need to take a step back and reevaluate what's on your plate, there's an automatic thought of, I'm gonna be a quitter if I do this.
We have these feelings in us. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why people do this, but they say it's me versus me. I'm my own worst critic. Or they say these things where they're pitting themselves against your own way of thinking. And to me, I've always tried to stress to people, I want to try to be best friends with myself. I don't want people around me that tells me I'm a quitter. So even if it's your own self calling you a quitter, how long do you think that's going to work in your mind? How long do you think talking to a friend will continue to come to you for advice? And we do that to ourselves all the time. One of the greatest lessons I've ever heard is be demanding, not demeaning. And that includes yourself in that spectrum. You can demand a lot from yourself, but once you start being demeaning to yourself, you're always a quitter. That's demeaning. You're not always a quitter. But you can say, hey, you really pushed hard on that. Let's figure out one more day if we can go. That's demanding. You have to be able to look at your scenarios and change how we fit the narrative.
I notice when I get into those spaces, I think my ego is very much involved, right? I think ego and pride get involved because you tend to call yourself those things so somebody else won't. By me thinking to myself, I'm such a quitter if I don't do this. I'm a failure if I don't complete this. Nobody else is calling me that. And you remind me all the time, you know, whose standard are you putting yourself up against? And I think as a form of self-preservation, protection, it's if I call myself that and I get out of that, then other people won't perceive me that way. So it's this concept of if I fail and I know that I failed, I can rectify the situation and nobody else will know. Mm-hmm. So for example, I was thinking about quitting 75 hard for multiple days before I actually did it. Part of the reason I didn't is because people at work knew that I was doing it. People were asking me how it was going. I started it with you and my best friend Emily, and I was the last one still doing it. So there was a level of, I'm going to be the last one standing. I'm going to finish it. In reality, when you and I spoke about how it was no longer serving me and I made the decision to not do it, and I texted Emily and I said, I've decided I'm done with 75 hard. I made it 55 days. It's no longer serving me. There are other things that I want to put my time and attention in right now. I'm thankful for what it did for me, but I'm moving on. She texted back and she said, and that, my friend, is wonderful news. So like, nobody cares what you're doing. Nobody cares what you are choosing or choosing to not do, because at the end of the day, you just have to be right with yourself. At the end of the day, like, as long as you're choosing activities that are serving you, that's all that really matters.
And you said it was my pride and my ego. When you talk about your pride and your ego, that is a perception that's created from the outside. Like the outside is telling you how you should look at the situation. So now you've developed a sense of pride. But truly, deep down, yourself is okay with your decision. As long as you can look yourself in the mirror and you're like 100% satisfied, thankful and grateful that you've had the opportunity or you finished the opportunity how you see fit, yourself is going to be okay with that. That's one of the hardest things that we have to try to push ourselves through, is this feeling of ego. Well, I got to do it, because pride is just as dangerous. For example, parents, fresh out the box parents, we still got new car smell on us. It's real easy to have a sense of pride because I'm the dad or because she's the mom. But honestly, we're just trying to make it to the end of the day, still be good parents. But there's some situations I can't do well. So I have to step back. I have to allow you to be able to step in and be an amazing mom, because I just can't fit that scenario.
Every year, and everybody makes New Year's resolutions, right? So whether it's you're going to lose weight, whether it's going to eat better, whether you're going to get your finances in check, whatever it is, people make New Year's resolutions. And you told me this when we first started dating. You said every year I eliminate a word from your vocabulary, and you work all year on not using that word because it's a word that no longer serves you. And so in years past, you've said, I'm going to eliminate the word hate. Mm-hmm. I'm going to eliminate the word promise. Mm-hmm. I'm going to eliminate these words that are just not serving me. So what I would challenge you with today, if you're listening, is what is a word that you need to eliminate that's not serving you? Because for me, I think my word is failure. Because when I tend to feel like I'm not doing enough, I am not showing up enough for my family, I'm behind on a project at work, I haven't gone to the gym in 4 days, automatically my brain has been programmed lately to think failure. But that's not by my standards. That's not by Akeem's standards. That's not really by any standard that I choose to live my life by. At the end of the day, what is that word for you that you feel like is not serving you right now? And more so than that, what is the word that is most harming you in your self-talk?
When it comes to eliminating a word, it's another sense of reflection. Where are you trying to take your mind? Where are you trying to take your ability to truly be different? Not serving me at all was always saying I'm tired. And it was just that whole phrase, I'm tired. And I couldn't stand it. But I would say it all the time. And so I was like, you know what? I'm done. So when I started to feel that way, it then became, at this moment, I'm really exhausted of how I feel. Do I need to rest? Do I need to do something else? And it started to change how I was thinking. For you listening out there, we're using words all the time that are shaping our realities. They are shaping who we're becoming tomorrow. You are so special. But the more you continue to think about the way that works, the way you're using it, the timing of when you're using it, you're holding yourself back. We're on the verge of finishing this PhD. And for me, it was finish. Like it truly, like the word, because I always would say, I'm scared because I wouldn't finish. I'm scared because I wouldn't finish. And we have not used that word, because every time I'd say it, I would be scared that I wouldn't finish. And I would literally self-sabotage myself in weeks of not writing. So just look at the words that we're using to describe ourselves, our actions, our moods, and start to alter them and see how you can finish the sentence and make it more filling for you.
I think it's a great way to look for new avenues of things that you might be searching for in your life. Sometimes negative self-talk or these conversations that we have in our head are very much a safety net, right? They're a safety net for how we feel, to protect us from things that we could do, things that we're afraid of, things that we may not feel like we're ready for. And so those words like quit and negative and failure and can't and won't and not able to, like those types of things really put us in a box where it can be really intimidating to step out of our comfort zone to try new things or do something different. You know, becoming a mom has really changed my perspective because you don't get time to really like figure it out. Like you have to figure it out every single day. So, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not able to do that. Well, you better figure out how you're going to do it because she's still breathing and she still needs you to do that, right? So sometimes, you know, the world forces you into those situations, but one way that you can force yourself into those situations is truly to just take an opportunity and reflect on how you're speaking to yourself and how you're viewing the decisions that you're making in your life right now. I know that we've talked about this before, but doing an audit of your current status and situation on whether it's personal, relational, financial, the projects in your life, of what is still serving you and what are you holding on to that is no longer serving you. So for a small example for us, I have been a Fabletics member since I was in college. I am a VIP 2 for $24 leggings back 10 years ago. And I've been a member ever since. And if you don't know, for Fabletics, every month you can skip the month within the first 5 days. And if you skip the month within the first 5 days, they don't charge you. If you don't skip the month, they charge your credit card $59.95. And now you have a credit that you can use on an outfit or whatever, right? So for a while I was, buying stuff regularly, so I never really needed to skip the month. And then, we did a financial audit and realized that buying things, every month was not something that needed to be done. And so I said to Akeem the other day, I said, I might cancel my Fabletics membership because for 2 months in a row, I have forgotten to skip the month. I forgot. Right now, as we're speaking, it's September the 2nd. And guess what? I need to skip the month or we're going to get charged again. So let this be a reminder. Is it no longer serving me? And I said that to you on the phone the other day. I said, I think I might cancel Fabletics. And you said, well, if that's what you think that, needs to be done because you're not happy that you forget to skip the month, then maybe it's time and, we can resume at another time. That's such a simple example of so many areas of your life in which you can just say, you know what? I've been doing this thing for years. And it could be anything. Like for Akeem, it was honey.
Oh, give it to me. Give it to me.
He would walk past the pantry and squirt some honey on his finger and just eat honey all day long.
Give it to me.
And the first time we did the Whole30 with our friends, he cut out honey completely, hasn't gone back. It's been 5 years. Mm-hmm. So what are the areas in your life where it's not just a word? It's a way of living. It's a habit.
Ooh, come on
it's
now.
Something that you have so ingrained. It's that wake up, 6 cups of coffee maybe that you don't love, snooze your alarm 17 times and not go to the gym. What are those things that you're doing that is not just a word, it's more than that?
The greatest way you should look at it is by asking yourself that simple question that we keep hammering home. Does this still serve me? Not just give you gratification and not just make you feel good in that moment. Truly ask yourself, does this still serve me? And you'll know that if it should be considered is if you have a strong negative or opposite feeling towards it. Because the honey situation, I laugh about it, but we would buy a honey no matter what size, and in a week it'll be gone. But Allison would then have to listen to me complain all week that my weight wasn't going down and how it was affecting me mentally. But I'm drinking honey as if it was juice. That was just my eating habits. And there was other things that I was doing. And you have to ask yourself, is this serving me? And if you have a strong feeling towards it, it should be up for consideration. Can we replace it? Do we have to subtract it? Do we have to reduce it? Because now that you can ask that question to yourself, now you can find ways to figure out how to make the right adjustments. And just going to people and saying, can you help me with this? Because that was a conversation about the Fabletics. And we've had multiple conversations where we are constantly asking ourselves, what do you think you need in this moment? How is this still serving you? And if you can't answer it, then we might need to consider changing it. And
you want to know what the most aggravating thing is?
What's that?
When you say, well, why do you think that you need this? And I say, well, I don't know. And you say, well, why? And I say, well, I think this. Well, why? And so one thing that Akeem does ad nauseum is he asks why. until you get to such a point of understanding in one direction or the other. There's no gray. It's either black or white, all or nothing. And he will ask why, until he gets there himself or I get there. And it helps because sometimes we don't even know why we have these habits. Sometimes we don't even know why we say these words to ourselves. Is it a learned behavior from how we were raised? Is it something we adapted over time because of the career we're in? Is it something that just came out of the blue that we just were like, yeah, that's just what we're doing now, you know? And so why do you drop a loud F-bomb every single time that you drop something in the kitchen is, you know, an important conversation to have, because you may not know where those habits come from, and they may not be serving you or your partner, and they may have to go.
They may have to go. For all of the probably one fan that's maybe listening, who knows? Who
Aunt
knows?
Lisa.
Yeah, Aunt Lisa, you know, that's listening to us. You have a way of saying something, or your friends have a way of saying something that you just need to consider, is it serving you or not? Because truly, we're around that every day. And if it is affecting us mentally, we need to do an audit of our mental capacity to say, do I still need this? Is it still serving me? And I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter how old you are, how much life you've gone through, what you've experienced. We constantly need to keep our brains in check. If we let something continue to just build on itself, we won't be the same person. We might be more snappy with people. We might be just more irritated with people. And so for me, I want to stay married. And so when I know Allison is not feeling well, I know I'm saying, here we go. I have to ask her why, because sometimes she may need the help to get there. So if you have a word in your own mind or a habit in your world that you can't get rid of, go to someone you know. Go to someone you trust and ask them. Have you ever noticed me doing this? Have you ever noticed me saying this? Start peeling back the layers by having them just ask you why. And you'll be surprised where it may take you.
I feel like one of the reasons why this concept is really hard, or it's really hard to eliminate things from what we're so used to every day, is because to a degree society has conditioned us to think same old,
Ugh.
living the dream.
Ugh.
We just become really okay with where we're at. And if you haven't listened to the episode on contentment and complacency from way back when we started, please go check it out. But we have this satisfaction being complacent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big reason why it's so hard to just say, you know what, I'm going to not do this anymore.
Why do we feel comfortable living in the world of same old, same old? It's because it's convenient. It truly is a convenient way of living. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not same old, same old. You are alive and well. You have something in your life right now that's driving you to a purpose, a place, and that should be appreciated and celebrated. And if you are one of those people that say same old, find something new. Find something new every day. You have breath. You have a relationship. You have a marriage. You have something that is new. So the more you say it's same old, it doesn't weigh the same. It's not the same joy that it's providing in your life, because you wouldn't say it like that. Nobody likes old things. No one likes old things, but we say it like that. I've never met someone in my life that when I've said to them, how are you doing? They say to me with the utmost joy, old and old, like, you know, same old. No, they're like, same old. So even in their description of how they're saying it, it's just like, whatever, check the box. And we don't want you to do that. So what are those words that aren't serving you? What are those words that's making you feel like things are same old? Because they may need to change, because you have so much more you're bringing to the table.
We started this last week giving you just something to think about as you go throughout your week, because I know that, you know, it can be really hard to just kind of remember. We're so thankful for you listening. We're so thankful that you support us, tuning in, follow us on social media. But just to kind of keep you thinking throughout the week, what I want you to think about is intention into action. Sometimes we say things, sometimes we do things without any intention. We're just used to it. It just becomes a part of our daily life. There's no reason behind it necessarily, or the reason that is behind it is a reason that's no longer serving us. So as you go about your week and you think about what you're doing and how you want to change and grow and become better, put intention into your actions.
And that starts with you taking a breath and thinking about the next word that comes out. Because if it's a word that's not serving you, then it shouldn't be there in the first place. Thank you for listening. We hope you come back.
See you next week.
Thank you for joining us on this exciting episode of Mental Max Out. We hope today's discussion has empowered you with the insights and tools to overcome the challenges of depression, fear, and doubt. Always remember that you have a support system on this journey, and every step you take is a step forward towards victory. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. We greatly appreciate your feedback as it allows us to continually provide you with the content that is most valuable to you. Stay connected with us on Instagram at Mental Max Out Podcast for a constant source of motivation, helpful advice, and a supportive community. Until the next time, keep pushing forward, and remember, you have the strength within you to max out your potential. Take care and stay strong.